Good evening and welcome, everybody. We are gathered here tonight around the radios that we've done 132 previous Fridays before this one to celebrate one of the best nets we have here on the East Coast Reflector, Usenet number 133. Hello again, my name is Carlos, N1CBM. I'll be the moderator for tonight, and we have quite the lineup. The full lineup for tonight, we have the three best controllers the ECR has to offer: Grayson, KG4BUT, Miss River, KR4GIP, and Ivan, KE2EGF. Each and every single one of them will take a turn throughout this hour, maybe a little bit more, if you guys help us surpass the 58 check-ins we had last week. And we'll be going through the net with a lot of fun asking the questions. A few announcements before I throw that out there. Let me reset here. Remember, the text line is available for you who would like to avoid the pileups, 716-317-9050, or email. It also works at text@ecr.radio, text@ecr.radio. Just text your call sign, and Miss Vicky will put you in the logs. As I mentioned, KE8VKY, Vicky is manning the logs tonight, keeping us out of trouble. And the question for the night is, what was your first ham radio? What was your first ham radio? We're going to leave out the toys and the CB radios. What was your first ham radio? Let's see if there's anybody out there who's mobile who would like to check in into the Usenet tonight. Call signs twice and slowly, please.
And 1YKT, and 1YKT. Whiskey 5 Bravo Charlie, Whiskey 5 Bravo Charlie Mobile.
Any other mobiles going once, going twice before we go into the general check-ins? Mobiles. We'll close the mobiles check-ins. If you have the reason to check in after this, you can call anyways. Let's just go with general check-ins. General check-ins for Usenet number 133, October 24th. Come now with the call signs twice.
K2BGX, K2BGX.
Kilo Delta 3 Bravo Foxtrot Echo, KD3BFE.
Any other check-in takers, check-ins for the Usenet tonight before we start with the controllers? Any other station, come with your call signs twice.
Kilo Foxtrot 8, Alpha Delta Sierra. Kilo Foxtrot 8, Alpha Delta Sierra.
Alpha Alpha 8, Whiskey India. Alpha Alpha 8, Whiskey India.
Quebec 4, Papa Oscar Kilo. Kilo, Quebec 4, Papa Oscar Kilo.
Okay, we'll hold it right there. Good, strong first round of check-ins here. I'm going to recognize from the bottom up on the list KQ4POK, Gonzo, N3, DQD, Ray, AA8WI, Bernie, KF8ADS, James, KD3BFE, Elliot, K2BGX, Jerry, KA8BYU, Roy, W5BC, William, N1YKT, Johnny, KQ8U, Bob, N6QDY, David, and AK 4G, Jim. I'm going to send it over to Mr. Grayson, KG4BUT, for the first third of the net. My name is Carlos, N1CBM. You have the con, Grayson.
Alrighty, thanks, Carlos. Alright, AK4G, Jim from Jacksonville, Florida. You have 21 check-ins.
Well, good evening, Grayson, River, Ivan, Carlos, Vicky. Thanks for what you do keeping the youth net running. It's always a great net to check in. My first ham radio I purchased in 1991. I was a technician class, and I bought the Yaesu FT470 dual band HT. And boy, I love that radio. Man, I wish I could find a brand new one. I would buy it again in a heartbeat. Those were great radios. Everybody have a great weekend. And hey, Grayson, for next week's question, what's your favorite Halloween candy? Because next Friday's Halloween. 7-3, guys. Until next week. AK4G, 7-3 all.
Alrighty, some please to you, Jim. Also, I think we already did Halloween candy. Unless we didn't. Some please to you, Jim. Next up, N6QDY, David from Sacramento, California. You have 16 seconds.
Hey, good afternoon, Grayson. Hello there, River and Ivan, Carlos, and Miss Vicky, and everybody on the net, everybody in the Zoom control room. Okay, to answer your question, my first radio was IC2AT, an ICOM 2AT, and I'd like to get another one of those. I don't have one anymore. Anyways, you guys keep doing the great job that you're doing, and thanks for doing that. Back to net control, N6QDY.
Alright, some please to you, David. Also, by the way, Jim, what was I gonna say? See, I forgot what I was gonna say, Jim. Sorry. Next up, KQ8U, Bob from Escort, Michigan. You have 67 seconds.
Good evening, Grayson and the rest of the YouthNet crew. My first radio I bought 20 years ago was an IC208H dual band. I still have it today. It's got a Mars mod on it. It's done well for me all through the years. Everybody have a great weekend. KQ8, back to net.
Alright, some please to you, Bob. Next up, N1YKT, Johnny from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. You have 2 seconds among the W5BC William from Bloomington, Texas, I guess.
W5BC in Lumberton, Texas. Thank you, Grayson. Welcome to... glad you guys are doing a good job on the net, and I've got a young man over here in our area. I'm trying to get him to come up on the radio and get on the youth net. He's about 12 years old, I think. Anyway, my first radio was a long time ago, and it was a Hammerland HQ110 receiver and a homemade 6LQ6 transmitter to TV2 for a crystal control transmitter back in the early 60s.
Okay, so to my knowledge, after Johnny, it's Uncle William, to my knowledge.
Say that one more time. I got some traffic over here and I didn't quite catch that.
To my knowledge, after Johnny is Uncle William, to my knowledge. Okay, never mind. Next up, 35 BC, William from Wilmington, Texas.
Jason, I might have doubled up with somebody there. I thought I heard my call in there before, W5DC. Name is Bill, and I am in Lumberton, like a ton of lumber, Lumberton, Texas. And like I said a minute ago, my first radio was a Hammerlin 110 and a 6L Q6 tube for, I think, 25 or 30 watt CW transmitter, crystal control back in the 1960s.
Thanks, William. Oh, not William. Bill. I'm sorry to sing the names, not the nicknames. So please to you, Bill. Next up, KAH BYU, Ward from Bassville, New York. You have 81 seconds.
Everybody on the Usenet, KAH BYU. Yeah, my first radio was a VHF Engineering 4-channel crystal control kit-built HT that I bought at the Toledo Mobile Radio Hamfest in Toledo, Ohio back in like 72. And I bought it used from a guy who had built it, and it was a pretty decent little HT for what it was. So that was the first one. Wish I still had it, though. That's the only one I don't have. I have my second, third, and fourth ones that I bought. Back to you.
Alrighty, some for you, Roy. Next up, K2BGX, Jerry from New York. You have 0 seconds to the East Coast Reflector Usenet.
Well, good evening, Grayson and the rest of the net. My first radio was a Glow Scout Model 680 transmitter, a Helicopter's SX71 receiver that I bought used through my cousin in about 1959, and I now carry his call sign. So there you have it. Have a good evening.
Alrighty, some police to Jerry. Next up, KD3BFE, Elliot from Parkville, Maryland. You have 0 seconds to the East Coast Reflector Usenet.
Auto patch number 0.
There we go, it wouldn't drop. KD3 VFV Elliot here, yeah, Parkville, Maryland. I guess to answer your question, my first radio, technically it was, I was into GMRS before I got into ham, a little over a year, about a year and a half now. I've only been a ham for 4 months, I think, since June. Gosh, it feels like longer though. First ham radio, to answer the question accurately, was a UV5R, of course. Go figure, right? but my first actual radio ever was the Balthing GM15 Pro GMRS radio. But thanks for having me on the net. Thanks for running it, and everybody else, have a good one. KD3BFE.
Alrighty, 732 Elliot. Next up, KF8ADS. James from Bryan Fennel, Minnesota. You have a 0 seconds to the East Coast Reflector Ethernet.
Thanks, Grayson. This is KF8ADS. I'm in Byron Center, Michigan. And thanks to the Usenet, you guys are doing a great job. My first radio, well, actually, I started, I was a novice in 1974, so it sounds like a lot of us had the same thing. It was an old single crystal transmitter. I think it was 25 watts. I bought it like military surplus. And then I had an old tube-type receiver, but I just left it on all the time so it didn't drift so bad. But I was strictly CW and really enjoyed it. But then when I hit my 20s, fell out of it. So last year I got my technician license to get back into it. So appreciate everybody and have a good night.
Alrighty, some free sea James. Next up, AAHWI, Bonnie from Portsmouth, Ohio. You have 10 check-ins.
Good evening, Grayson, to you and everyone on the net. My first amateur radio was an ICOM IC2AT, which had belonged to my dad, and I inherited that from him when I became a ham. So that was my first one. Nice little 2-meter HT. Back to the net, 73 to all, AA8WI.
Woohoo, go ICOM. I'm currently using a ID52. It's a telling you Steph's Kiss radio. Whew. Like, it's kind of expensive radio, but you get D-stall, simplex, duplex. Well, I don't know what you expect, but yeah, it's a good radio. I'm like $700, but still. Anyway, so free Steve Boney. Next up, N3DQD, away from Beaver, Pennsylvania. You have 17 seconds.
Good evening, Grayson, River, Ivan, everybody else in the Zoom room, Carlos. My first radio was a Yaesu FT8R handheld. It had 10 channels and it was programmable. Back to net. This is N3DQD.
Alrighty, some free CUA. Next up, KQ4 POK Gonzo from Middle Springs, Florida. You have 8 check-ins to the East Coast Reflector Ethernet.
Good evening, Grayson, and everyone on the Usenet. Being that I'm still relatively new to ham radio, the first radio that I purchased was actually last year, which is an 80-tone AT778UV. It's a dual band radio, and it's a little modest 25-watt. It's one that I still use and enjoy quite a bit. So back to net control, this is KQ4 POK clear.
Some free C Gonzo. Next up, KQ4 UPK Chris from Hollywood, Florida. You have 20 check-ins.
Hey there, Grayson. This is me, Chris. KQ4 UPK. Hi to everybody on the net tonight. And to be honest, my first radio was obviously the 5UV5R Bofang. And I had a TYT, but it's the first one that matters. So, yep. Good old Bofang. Still using it in my hand right now. Thanks, Grayson. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great night. KQ4 UPK, back to net control.
Yeah, those bow things are truly invincible. Well, they're not invincible because I had two of them. One of them died. No, both of them died because the battery clip that's on the radio, broke from dropping it like a single time. Both of them. Fun fact, I don't think I actually have a ball. I have a I know I have a UV5X3, which to my knowledge can't actually be programmed, at least be controlled. I'm going to stop yet. Some free secrets. Next up, K7 FPS, Flood from Greenville, Nevada. You have 5 seconds.
Hey, Grayson and everyone on the net, K7 FPS, Fred and Reno. Mine was the Baofeng UV5R, and it has had offspring, many offspring. But then I introduced it to its grandparents, an Anytone and a Yaesu. Anyway, back to net, K7 FPS, I'll be clear.
Simply see Fred. Next up, W2, RBC, Randy from Leicester, New York. You have 44 seconds.
Good evening, Grayson, River, Ivan, Carlos, and everyone on the Usenet. My first radio was a Yaesu FT65HT. I still have it and I'm using it. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
Alrighty, simply see Randy. Next up, I'm going to hand it back over to Carlos to, well, it's kind of at an awkward time point right now. It's 8:22, and, usually I only do one call of check-ins, and, River goes in at 8:30, so, let Carlos decide on how this is going to work.
All right, Grayson, great job there, handling that first batch of check-ins. Good job, everybody, checking in into the Usenet. We have to surpass the 58 check-ins we have last week. We see a lot of connections out there, so we see you're out there. All you have to do is grab your radio, check in, or use the phone line, the text line, 716-317-9050, or the email, text@ecr.radio. For the question of the night, which is, what was your first ham radio? I'm Carlos, N1CBM, and we're opening up another round of check-ins. Round of check-ins number 2 for the Usenet number 133. Let's help these kids get more than 58 check-ins. Please come in now with your call signs twice as slow.
Kilo 2, Charlie Mike Tango. Kilo 2, Charlie Mike Tango. Control, this is
Kilo Delta 2, Kilo Alpha Kilo. Kilo Delta 2, Kilo Alpha Kilo. Zero X-ray Romeo Golf, again November 0 X-ray Romeo Golf.
N2BH, N2BH.
This is Kilo Bravo 8, Papa Lima Victor, Kilo Bravo 8, Papa Lima Victor, Chris.
Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Tango Golf, KE2, FTG.
November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo.
Echo 8, Sierra November, KE8, SMN.
KJ5, JVV.
This is Kilo Quebec 4, Kilo Zulu Mike, Kilo Quebec 4, Kilo Zulu Mike.
Here's Whiskey Delta 5, Charlie Bravo Whiskey. WD5, CBW. Dan in Harrison, Tennessee.
Kilo Charlie 9, India X-ray, X-ray. Kilo Charlie 9, India X-ray, X-ray. Kilo Echo 9, Delta Papa Foxtrot. Kilo Echo 9, Delta Papa Foxtrot.
Kilo 6, Golf Bravo Zulu, K6 GBZ.
We acknowledge all these check-ins. And before we do that, early in the check-in process, we had a KE4YQ or ZYQ or something like that. Can you come with that call sign and clarify it for us?
Yes, net control, that was Kilo Echo 4, Zulu Yankee Quebec, Joe and Clinton Township, Michigan. Kilo Echo 4, Zulu Yankee Quebec, roger.
All right, we got it, Joe, KE4ZYQ. All right, from the bottom up, K6 GBZ, Tom, KE9 DPF, Grayson, KC9 IXX, Roger, WD5CWB, Daniel, you're new to the system. If you have a valid QR set email, the system will generate a welcome letter. You'll have all the information about the East Coast Reflector right there. N3, Lima Lima Yankee, LLY, Glenn, KQ4, KCM, Charles, KJ5, JVB, Mark, KE8, SMN, Jeff, N4, RHE, Roger, KE2, FTG, Michael, KB8, PLV, Chris, N2BH, Vroom Vroom, Bill with the Harleys, N0XRG, Ronald, another new one. The system will send you a welcome letter if you have valid email in QR set. KD2KAK, Brian, KE4, ZYQ, Joe, and K2CMT, Mike from DeBerry, Florida. I want to send it back to Grayson for another 3 or 4 contacts, and then he's going to send it to River, KR4GIP. She's ready there in the Zoom room for her slot. And this is Carlos, N1CBM. You have it, Grayson.
Oh, thanks, Carlos. Yeah, I'm going to be taking 3 out of the, how many left we got. K2CMT, Mike from DeBerry, Florida. Yeah, 45 check-ins.
Well, thank you, Grayson, and good evening to River and Ivan and to Carlos. My first radio was 2 of them. I bought the same radio. It was a TYT 9800 Plus, but one is a base and the other is a mobile. Everyone have a great night tonight. Kilo 2 Charlie Mike Tango.
Alrighty, some freeze to you, Mike. Next up, KE4ZYQ, Joe from Clinton Township, Michigan. You have 6 check-ins.
Net control, this is Kilo Echo 4, Zulu Yankee Quebec, Joe and Clinton Township, Michigan. My first radio back in the early 1980s was a Radio Shack realistic 2-meter HT. It was the HTX 202, 2-meter brick looking as the size of a brick, a 2-meter handheld. So the HTX 202, I still have it to this day, and it works. So back to that from Kilo Echo 4, Zulu Yankee Quebec.
Alrighty, some freeze to you, Joe. Yeah, I used to actually have a video. No, I didn't take it apart. I borrowed it from my grandpa, then he took it back because the parts in it, the potentiometers for like VFO and stuff like that. Yeah, it was an old radio from like the 60s. What do you expect from the pots? Alrighty, some for you, Cijo. Next up, KD2, KAK, Brian from Colford, New York. You have free check-ins to the East Coast Reflector Usenet.
This is Kilo Delta 2, Kilo Alpha Kilo. I kind of did things backwards. I went straight up to my general, and my first radio was a ICOM IC-M710. And I got into HF, and now doing more VHF, UHF later on in my radio. Back to net control.
Alrighty, some fleas to you, some fleas to you, Brian. Next up, I'll hand it back over to Carlos to give it over to, Wivel. Some fleas to y'all, KG4BT out, but not forever though.
Alrighty, Grayson, thanks very much for that. And while River gets ready right there, I'm going to remember you guys that we have the 40-meter net tomorrow, Saturday at 9 a.m. on 7.245. You can check in if you have the privileges. And for Saturday at 23 hours, 11 o'clock, for those who don't use the 24-hour clock, is the trivia net. Fun net, super fun. Go ahead and check in and try your luck at the questions. All right, now I'm going to send it to Miss River. She's going to keep on taking this list. River, you have it.
All right, thank you, Carlos. Next up, we have KE4ZYQ, Joe and Clinton. Oh, did we already get you? Oh yeah, hang on, I think my logs are glitching. N0XRG, Ronald in Baytown, Texas.
November 0, X-Ray Romeo Golf. Yeah, you got Ron in Baytown, Texas, not far from Houston. The first radio I got, it was a free one, and it was a partnership with, I believe, Gigaparts and QRZ. And when you got your ticket, you got a free little HT, little 2-meter HT. I can't even remember the actual make of it, but I paid it forward to another new ham who got his license. My first legit radio was a Yaesu FT701. Thank you guys for running the net. You make my day. Hi, folks on the Zoom channel. Back to you, net. November 0, X-Ray, Romeo Golf.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up, we have N2BH, Bill in Palmyra, New York.
Good evening, River, Grayson, Carlos, everybody. Sounding good. My first radio was on the cheap. I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I got a Baofeng 50X1 dual band and did GMRS and amateur radio. And since then, upgraded quite a bit. N2BH.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up, we have KB8PLV, Chris in Novi, Michigan.
Hello, River. Thanks for welcoming me to the net. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. My first radio was a Yaesu FT530, an HT, which I would use to eventually call up to another radio at the house to patch into my phone, so I could actually dial my phone from my first HT. Everyone have a good weekend ahead. This is KB8PLV. Back to net.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up we have KE2FTG, Michael in Cornwall, New York.
This is KE2FTG. Thank you, Net Control, and everyone running this tonight. My first ham radio was a Heathkit Hot Water. That's HW. I think it was a 100, might have been a 101. I built it in 1978, and I didn't have a license, so I gave it to a friend of mine who did have a license. So that actually was the first one. But I want to say, my introduction to radio was with a Hallicrafter shortwave with my dad about 10 or 20 years earlier than that. That was a big hobby in those days. It's not what it used to be. Having a good time tonight. I'm really glad to hear from everybody. And 73 to all of you working the net. KE2FTG.
Alright, thank you for coming. Good to hear about you too. Next up we have N4RHE, Roger in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Good evening, River. You all sound good. November 4, Romeo Chaleco. First were Kenwood handheld transceivers, model G8F6A. It is a 144, 220, 440 megahertz FM tri-bander. I purchased 2 of them and still have them. November 4, Roger M. Enthusiast. Return to net.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up we have KE8SMN, Jeff in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Good evening, River, everyone on the Usenet. This is KE8SMM. Put me down for a Baofeng HT. KE8SMM, back to net.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up we have KJ5JVV, Mark in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
River and everyone on that. Yeah, I'm fairly new to ham. I'm less than a year into ham. So the first radio I got was like everybody else, with Baofeng UV5R. But since then, I've been trying to get a collection of radios. I got an Icon 207H and a Yaesu FTM 6000. But yeah, that's what I got. That's it. This is Kilo Juliet 5, Julie Victor, back to net control.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up we have KQ4KZM, Charles in Delta, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, Alabama. Alright, we're gonna try that again. KQ4KZM, Charles in Delta, Alabama.
This is Kilo, Quebec 4, Kilo Zulu Mike. My name is Charlie. I'm actually currently mobile in Oxford, Alabama, but I'm a fairly new ham, and my first radio was, of course, a UV5R. I've got a UV17 that I like a little bit better, and then my mobile rig, I've got a Chinese model QYT 9800, and my first HF rig is a True USDX.
thank you for coming. Next up, we have N3LLY, Glenn in Glen Burnie. I don't know that abbreviation. If you could please tell me.
Yes, I can, River. It's Mike Delta from Maryland. Anyway, my very first ham radio was a Yaesu F470. I got it for a really good price, but the only problem was that it had an unchargeable nickel cadmium battery. So I went out and got myself a DC power cord and a car battery, and I was so proud that I had passed my ticket and got that radio that where I went. Anyway, 7-3 everybody. Good job there, River. Back to you in that control.
Alright, thank you for coming. Next up, we have WD5CBW, Daniel in Harrison, Tennessee. Welcome to the Usenet.
Hello, River, and you're doing a good job. Here is Witch Doctor 5 Cold Blue Water. My first radio was the Kenwood TS520S back in 1976 when I passed my novice test. Before it came, I welded together a 50-foot tower, threw it up next to the barn, and built monoband antennas for each of the HF bands, and I used that radio for about 25 years, contesting the heck out of it, and it was rock solid. So back to you, and I'm really enjoying the net. This is my first time, and my email is wd5cbw@arrl.net.
Alright, thank you for coming. Happy to have you. Next up, we have KC9IXX, Roger in Rochester. I don't know what that abbreviation is either, if you could tell me that one.
Absolutely. That is Indiana, Rochester, Indiana. Name on this side is Roger. And my very first radio was an ICOM 2100H, single band 2-meter ICOM radio when I very first got into the hobby. You guys are doing a great job, and have a good evening. And this is KC9IXX, back to net control.
Alright, you have a good evening too. Next up, we have KE9DTF, Grayson in Rochester, Indiana.
Good evening here to everybody here on the Usenet. Good job, Grayson. There's a lot of contacts that you've gone through so far, but my first radio was a old Kenwood TMV7A. It was a dual band 440 and 2-meter radio, and so far it sounds pretty good. But have a good evening to everybody else on the net. KE9DTF, back to net.
Thank you for coming. Next up, we have K6GBZ, Tom in Cameron Park, California.
Good evening, River in the Net. This is K6GBZ, Tom from Cameron Park. My first radio was a gift from my best friend in Portland, who sent me a Baofeng UV5R. He thought I'd be interested, and it motivated me to get my license, which was about a year ago. Anyway, back to net control. Have a great evening.
Alright, nice. Thanks for coming. Next up, we have KE2EDS Mark in Alma, New York.
Grayson, Ivan, you guys are doing a great job here. Anyways, as far as my first radio, it was a Kenwood TS530S. I still have it. I bought it in 1991. Have a great evening. Keep up the good work, guys. KE2EDS.
KE2ZVN, Maddie and Ellen in Kendall, New York.
Job tonight. Sound like a pro. My first radio was a Heathkit SB104A, and it did CW and sideband. I didn't actually play with VHF, UHF for probably another year afterwards. So that was my first radio, and I had an absolute ball with it. I miss it. Wish I had it back. And Maddie says she doesn't have a radio, but if she gets her license, I may give her one of her grandfather's, which I'm sure she would cherish. And to ZVN, back to the net.
Alright, thank you for coming, and tell Maddie I said hi. Next up, we have KD3AJN, Anna in Beaver, Pennsylvania.
Good evening, everyone on the net. Just wanted to check in and say hello. This is KD3AJN.
Alright, well, the question of the night, if you want to answer it, what was your first radio? Alright, thank you for coming, Anna. Next up we have, I'm gonna hand it over to Carlos.
Well, thank you very much, River. What a great job you guys are doing. I told you folks, these kids are pros. They're doing better than us. All right, the net's been going very strong, and we are 49 minutes past the hour, but we're not going to skimp on time for this net. So, once again, for the third round of check-ins, we're going to get some more. We're going to get some more fuel to keep this ship running and pass 58 check-ins. That's what we did last week. We need more than that. So everybody out there, come with your call signs twice so we can get Ivan a run for his money. Call signs twice, please.
KO4CLD, KO4CLD.
Kilo 7, Lima X-ray Kilo. Kilo 7, Lima X-ray Kilo.
4 Golf 1, November Yankee Sierra, 4G1 NYS.
W2
WJIOL,
KJV,
Delta 8,
KJV.
Italy, Oscar, Lima.
Extra Delta,
BY2 BIL, Papa Yankee 2, Bravo, India, Lima.
Kilo 5, Bravo Mike, India. Kilo 5, Bravo Mike, India.
Good morning, everyone. This is Delta Lima 3, Lima Echo Victor. Delta Lima 3, Lima Echo Victor calling from Hamburg, Germany.
Let's clarify a couple of call signs right there that we might have missed due to the pileups. Last call sign to check in LEV, Lima Echo Victor. Can you clarify that for us? Got it now, DL3 LEV. Sally, hang tight, we'll come back to you. And earlier in the check-in process, we also had a KE5. KE5, can you come back again with your call signs, please?
Kilo Echo 5 X-ray Delta. Kilo Echo 5 X-ray Delta. David in Detroit.
AR4 GIP, River. DL3 LEV, Sally from Hamburg, Germany. KB2DY, Pete. We got K5 BMI, Kyle. My glasses are failing me. PY2 BIL, Bill from Sao Paulo, Brazil. KE5 XD, David. WD8 IOL, James. W2 KJV, Tony from Homosassa, Florida. 4G1 NYS, Stephen from Batangas. KK7 LXK, Aaron. You're new to the system, and the system's telling us you don't have a valid email in QR set. If you update it, you'll get a letter with all the information about the ECR. W2SAL, Sal. KO4 CLD, Micah. Want to send it over to Ivan, KE2 EGF. He's going to wrap up the net, and we'll probably get more than 58 check-ins, so let's keep it working, guys. This is Carlos in 1CBM. Ivan, you have it.
Yeah, thanks, Carlos. Probably going to finish this list here, guys, and we're going to do a round of in and outs. I'd say 49 check-ins is pretty good for around this time. Yeah, thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Question tonight is, what was your first radio? I remember my first radio. That was the radio that got me into it. And it's still probably my second favorite radio that I own. Very nice radio, still up to date, still a very nice radio. Baofeng BF F8 HP Pro. It's 8 watts digital display, airband 220. It's a nice little radio, I like it. But yeah, that's my first radio. I have fond memories of that and my Nagoya that I bought with it, and try to hit all the repeaters around here. Yeah, alright, first here we've gone down to KO4 CLD, Micah in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Please come now.
This is KO4 CLD. The first radio that I had to make myself get my license, I saved up money so that I could get an ICOM ID 51, and as soon as I got my ticket that day, even though I knew that I couldn't transmit, I drove over to Huntsville to Gigaparts and picked it up, and at least started getting familiar with the menus and the settings. So that was my first radio, and really enjoy it, and this is KO4 CLD, back to net.
Yeah, roger that, there. Micah. Yeah, I appreciate you coming in tonight. Every check-in counts. Yeah. Roger that. Now you guys send down to Sale. Now this I'm pretty curious about, Sale. What was your first handheld there? I think you got licensed back a lot further than I did, so I'm curious to see what you had back then. Or not handheld, your first radio. Ham radio. Down to you, Sale.
Good evening, Ivan. The last two nets I missed getting you in there, so I traded them up and waited until the end here to kick you a little bit down the road myself. My first radio, believe it or not, was a Baofeng UV82 HD, and then I got a big boy radio, which was a Yaesu 757GX. But with that, I'll send it back to you. You have a great night. Keep up the good work, and roll on, brother. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, roger that, Sal. Yeah, I actually didn't know you got licensed that early. To be honest with you, I thought you were licensed back in the 1980s, so sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, now we're listening down to KK7LXK. Aaron, who's new to the system, welcome. And has no email QRZ page. That's a problem. Not really, but, you know, if you do put an email on your QRZ page, yeah, you're, let's see here. The Reflector will send you with a mother load of emails later, and, you can read through them and make you feel even more welcome to the Reflector. Anyways, Aaron in Portland, Oregon, please come now.
Kilo 7, Lima X-Ray Kilo, this is Aaron. Yeah, my first legitimate radio was the ubiquitous UV5R, and sending it back to net control.
Yeah, roger that, Aaron. Yeah, I'm willing to bet here that the UV5R is going to be the most popular handheld, actually the way we're putting it down is just by brand, but I'd like to hear the full, thing you're doing there. It's just easier to put stuff in the log when you just do the brand. But I'm going to bet Baofeng HT is going to be the top answer. Anyways, we're getting all the DX here tonight. Anyways, we're about to down to 4G1 NYS. Steven in Batangas City, Philippines. Nice to see you, Steven. Down to you.
Thank you very much, Grayson and everybody on the East Coast Reflector. This is 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra from here in the Philippines. Good Saturday morning here. Excuse me. My answer to your question, my very first radio was a Baofeng UV82. They come in cheap, and what a budget-friendly thing to start for beginners. But I'm almost 2 years in this ham world now. That's why I could invest now on those bigger ones. 73s to everybody. 41 NYS, sending it back to control.
Yeah, roger that, Steven. Yeah, just last Saturday, I actually had my official 1 year being a ham. Sadly couldn't throw any birthday parties, but I hope some of you guys celebrated me. Anyways, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It's crazy. It hasn't even felt like that long since I got my license. Anyways, now to listen down to W2 KJV, Tony in Homestead, Florida. Please come now.
Good evening, Ivan. Good evening, River, Grayson, and good evening, Carlos. My first radio was a standard C228A deluxe twin band with a 2-meter and 220 HT. Back to you, Ivan. Everyone have a great night. W2KJV.
Roger that. Yeah, let's see here. Now we're going to down to WD8. IOL. James in Toledo, Ohio. Please come now.
WD8IOL. Here, my first radio was a Heathkit HW16, which I acquired as a novice back in the late 1970s. Had a lot of fun with it. My first DX contact was totally unexpected. Winter night and on 80 meters and a station in Glasgow, Scotland. Came back to me. That was my first DX contact. Great memories. Back to net, WD8IOL 73.
Roger that. 73 Steve James. Have a good one. Now represent down to KE5XD. David in New Boston, Michigan. Please come now.
Kilo Echo 5X up, the KE5XD. David, New Boston, Michigan, presently out here in Plymouth, Michigan. Here, just got out of church, so good to hear the YouthNet. I think it's probably my first time checking in. I've heard it a few times, but I've never had an opportunity to get on. So good to hear everybody out there tonight. So my first station was my novice station, so it would have been 50 years ago this year, 1975. I got my license in May and had a Heathkit. God, what the heck was it? It was a DX60. That's a DX60, probably, I don't know if it was an A or B. And I had it paired with a receiver, National NC300 receiver. So big and bulky and probably considered a boat anchor these days. But anyway, 50 years in this hobby and I probably got 50 ham radios. So thanks for running the net. Good job, all everybody. And hopefully we'll get on again sometime. This is KE5XD, back to net.
Roger that, David. Now represent down to PY2BAL. Bill in Sao Paulo, Brazil. How are you doing there, Bill? Down to you.
This is PY2BIO. Hi, Ivan on the net. So when I started ham radio, there were no cheap radios or no Chinese radios, so I have built my own one. I was a teenager at the time, and it was a tube radio, small one, 80 meters. So you can write it down as a homebrew. Thanks for taking the net. 73 tall. This is PY2BAL.
Yeah, Roger that, Bill 73. It's Northwest and to K5 BMI. Kyle in Silsbee, Texas. Question that is, what was your first ham radio? Please come now.
Yeah, great job, guys, on the net tonight. I haven't been a ham very long, maybe a little over a year, and like many folks this day and age, my first radio was the Baofeng UV5R. Still have it, along with some additional radios, but I'll give it back over to you, Net. 73s to everyone. K5 BMI.
Yeah, Roger that. 73's Kyle. Have a good one there. Now they're passing down to KB2DY, Pete in Huntington Station, New York. Please come now. Sally in Hamburg, Germany. By the way, I see you're new to the Reflector there. Welcome.
So, hello. I get the question of the day. It was, what was my first radio? Well, what was my first radio? My first radio is one of the latest, I guess. It's the ICOM 9700. And that's because my license is about 2 years ago. So my OM is has his license since 1988, and he brought me into this, and yeah, it's very great. So thank you all. I'm very interested in all this. It's very fun, but I have to go. It's pretty late here in Hamburg. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday. But thank you all. You did all a good job. Till next time. Bye. Delta Lima 3, Lima Echo Victor.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, all right, 73 Sally. Yeah, it's 9:05 here down in Buffalo, New York here. It would be a Friday night, so yeah. Anyways, now we're passing down to KR4 GIP River in New Bern, North Carolina. How you doing, River? All right, thank you, Ivan. This is KR4 GIP. My first radio is a Baofeng, and it's actually the one that I'm using right now. It was a gift from someone at our ham club. It was a gift for passing the test to become a technician class. And that's it. KR4 GIP. Back to you, Ivan. Listen down to Dick at WV2 JPQ. Dick in Eden, New York. Please come now.
Good evening again, Ivan, Grayson, and River. Certainly a nice net tonight. It's really a pleasure to sit back and hear you kids. I've been thinking back, and I can't remember. It was an AR something. It was a black military radio, crystal controlled. I had that for a while, and I worked, mowed lawns, polished cars, washed cars, just anything for money, and I got enough money to buy a DX35 by Heathkit. I did not build it. It was already built. It was secondhand, and boy, I thought I died and went to heaven. It was one frequency. Well, it was crystal controlled, depending upon the amount of crystals, how many crystals you had with how many frequencies you could get on. And myself and another friend of mine, we would exchange crystals on the weekends, and he would get on the frequency I was for the week, and that was our tradition. But can't remember the first one. And my receiver was some sort of a helicopters. I just can't remember the model numbers. It's been way too long ago. But back in those days, there was two modes, CW and AM. There was no FM, no 2 meters, no UHF. It was AM and CW. So there you go. It's a little bit of history. Good job on the net. This is WB2JPQ.
Yeah, roger that, Dick. Yeah, 73's there. Yeah, now we're passing down to Pete, KB2 DY, Pete in Huntington Station, New York. Let's see if we can get in there now. Pete, KB2 DY. Pete, please come now.
I apologize for my faux pas before. I was both on the Zoom room and the net audio at the same time, and it bollocksed everything up. But my first radios, it goes back a long time. My HF radios, 2 transceivers, 1 receiver. The KWM2A by Collins, the Hot Water or HW101 by Heathkit, I had an HT, 2 meters, Yaesu, the FT208D, the FT208R, and that was my beginnings. Very professional. You really bring out a very nice starting out in amateur radio as young children or now becoming into the state of adolescence. And it's good. It sounds great. Good night to everybody. Sorry again for the problem before. 73. This is KB2DY.
Yeah, Marshnet 73, it's Pete there. Yeah, it's alright. Happens to all of us, at least once. I've had problems like that before, not in Zoom, but problems in ham radio like that. Like I said, it happens to all hams. Part of fixing it is what gets you to make sure you don't have that happen again. Anyways, yeah. Now we're going to send on down to Carlos there. Carlos, if you want, I'd appreciate if you could take some in and out, then pass it back to me for the dad. Down to you, Carlos.
Yes, sir, we will do that, Mr. Ivan. This is Carlos, N1CBM, and for the record, I haven't talked about my first radio. It was the venerable IC2AT. Also, it was a brick at the time. I had it with a small battery. And then I found my ways to find the high-capacity battery, and it gave the radio like 3 more inches, and that radio was a brick. I dropped it once, and I was barefoot, and I stumped my big toe, and I had a big black toenail for like 2 months after that monster fell on my foot. Anyways, we have a slight predicament here, and I'm going to use the executive powers granted by the ECR brass to extend the net a little bit and call for another round of check-ins. Let's do the speed round, including the ins and outs. Let's bring this net to over 58 check-ins. We have 50 right now. We are looking for another 10, 12, 15, 20 check-ins. Check-ins come now with your call signs twice.
W2RNI. W2RNI.
KE2EHI, Kilo Echo 2, Echo Hotel India, in and out for the count, 7-3 off.
Kilo Foxtrot 8, Echo Quebec Foxtrot, KF8, EQF, checking in.
Here is Kilo November 4, Charlie Victor, checking in.
Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Lima Yankee, Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Lima Yankee, in and out for the count.
Echo 2, Golf Hotel Zulu, KE2GHZ, in and out.
This is Kilo 6 Lima November India, K6 LNI, checking in.
Alpha Papa, checking in and out.
This is KD2TOM, Kilo Delta 2, Tango Oscar Mike, in and out for the count.
All right, we had a 2 AP station, 2 KE2AP. It was really low on the audio. We'd like to clarify that 2AP station. Come back again with your call sign.
Kilo 2 Alpha Papa. K2AP. K2AP.
We got it this time, Joseph, K2AP. And any last takers, in and outs for the count. Come on, guys, let's give these kids at least 60, 61, 2 or 3 more.
N8GIO, November 8, Golf, India, Oscar, Frank in Ohio.
Zero APG, Kilo Echo 0, Alpha Papa Golf, Nebraska.
All right, we're happy with that. We have a few in and outs, and we have another check-in, so Mr. Ivan will take him when it's due time. But before that, I'm going to recognize from the bottom up KE0APG, Shane, Battle Creek, Nebraska, N8GIO, Frank, Beaver Creek, Ohio, KD2TOM, in and out. Thank you, Thomas, for that. Appreciate it. And N8GIO, Frank was also in and out. K2AP, Joseph from New York, will come back to you shortly. K6LNI, Lancelot. KE2GHZ, in and out. Steve, thanks. KQ4GOI, Chris, it's also in and out. Thanks for sticking your head in and saying hi. KN4CV, Rick. KF8EQF, Robert, your mobile will come back to you first. So hang tight. K2EHI, Joe, also in and out, thank you for that, and W2RNI. I don't know if that's a valid call sign or not, W2RNI. Can you come back and clarify for us?
Roger, W2RNI, Buffalo, New York.
Okay, we didn't get your prefix. Can you come again, please?
W2RNI, Buffalo, New York.
Okay, W2RNI, we got it this time. All right, we got 61 check-ins. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. My name is Carlos, N1CBM, the net moderator for number 133, record number on tonight's net. Thank you all. We couldn't have done it without you checking in and participating on this fine net. I'm going to send it over to Ivan so he will take these check-ins and close the net. Thank you very much. We'll see you next Friday, 7-3.
Roger that, Carlos. Very cool that we got our 61 check-ins here. 3 more than last time's record, which was last week, so we're doing pretty good. Anyways, let's pass it on down to Mike, WA2RNI, or in West Seneca, New York. Please come out. RNI, are you still there?
Roger, W2RNI returning.
That's not there. What? The question of the night is, what was your first radio? Please come now.
East CV1. It was a small crystal radio.
That's 73 is North Pass sign down to KF8EQF, Robert in Allen Park, Michigan. Please come now. KF8EQF, are you still with me? Herd will mark you as in and out. Now you're visiting down to KN4CV. Rick in Hollywood, Florida. Please come now.
Good evening, Ivan and the net. This is Rick, KN4CV in Hollywood, Florida. If the question is for me, same thing. My first radio back in the late 60s, I believe it was a borrowed Johnson Viking Ranger with 2 crystals for 40 meter CW as a novice, and a Drake 2B, which I still have. I haven't put it in years, and I'm sure it needs to be recapped at minimum. But, those are my original radios. Back to net, 4CV.
After that, 73 Northwest and down to K6, LNI, Lancelot in Hayward, California. Please come now.
Good evening, all on the net, Usenet this evening. My first radio was somewhere in the mid-90s. I still have it, and it was and is a Yaesu HT FT50. Have a good evening, have a great weekend. This side is Kilo 6 Lima November, India, 73.
Yeah, Roger that. Narcobass on down to K2 AP. Joseph in East Slip, New York. Please come now.
Alpha K2 AP. My first radio was a Drake 2 line. A Drake 2 line with 2 crystals. Also, I was wondering, would it be possible for you to change my name on the identification? I know in the FCC call book it's Joseph, but I usually refer to as Joe, J-O-E. Would it be possible to change that? K2AP, that's it.
Roger that. 73 is there. All right, with that, that's the end of the net for tonight. I appreciate everyone for coming out. The first tonight was what was your first radio, and we got 61 check-ins. We did pretty good. All right, I'm going to pass it back to Carlos here. He's going to stay at 73s, and I'll read out the stats. And on CBM, this is KE2 EGF.
All right, Ivan, you brought me back from the 7.3s. Anyways, guys, this is Carlos N1CBM. We had a pretty great net tonight, 61 check-ins. We beat the record for last week, 58. I don't know if Ivan wants to read the stats. I'm going to ask him if he wants to do that and close the net. Ivan, you want to do that?
Carlos? All right, let's see here. Show my thing to scroll up. All right, we had a real nice, let's see, 61 check-ins here. Better than our 58 last time. Last time was a new record. We got a new record again with 3 more than last time. I appreciate everyone. All right, the most answered. Drum roll, please. As I called it, the Baofeng HT. This could be a UV2, UV82, or a UV5R. Alright, next in place, drum roll please, would be the ICOM radios, 16.3%. The Baofeng HTs were at 24.5%. And in third place, we got Yaesu HTs with 14.3%. And in other places, we had 2%, which means just one answer. We had Anytones, VHF Engineering, TYTs, TNVs, and Kenwoods. Or never mind, not a Kenwood. Kenwoods are at 4.1%, which means 2 people answered. Drake and Holocrafters are also at 4.1%, which means 2 people answered there. And Heathkit is at 8.2%, which I assume means 4 people answered it. Anyways, we had a pretty good net tonight. The college most check-ins, drum roll please, is the best number 2. With college district number 4 in second place, 13 check-ins, and college district number 8 and fourth in third place with 10 check-ins. Alright, thanks everyone for coming out tonight. I appreciate everyone for checking in. Remember, every check-in counts. Carlos does not bite, so, I mean, if you have something out there and you can get in somehow, even direct link, I really encourage you to do it. Anyway, 73s everyone, this is K2EGF. I am going to be terminating the Ethernet and returning the East Coast Reflector back to normal amateur use. This is K2EGF, I'll be clear.